Welcome to the Sample Podcast, the number one social dynamics podcast in the world. And with me is the person that rose the ranks with me. He's one of my good colleagues. We even go further than that. We started as colleagues. I knew of him in Las Vegas. And from there, we went further and further. We became roommates. We became best friends. We traveled the world. From there, we rose the ranks. He's dealt with millions of people online, thousands upon thousands of people face to face with traveling the world. I think it was something like 36 countries every year. Each year, you're just on your sixth or you're doing your sixth world tour. And today I have the special privilege, one of my good friends, Mr. Madison. How are you, my friend?
That is quite the intro, man. I really appreciate it. I want to live up to that standard. Let's give the good people that are tuned into you a reason to listen to you today. Let's get some good shit.
So for the people that don't know, give us a short little summary about you and how we know each other.
How we know each other. All right. So I guess this would have started. We know each other for about 6 years. About 10 years ago, I would have, actually about 12 years ago now, I would have found an online community of people that were working on social skills. And I went out and I practiced everything they said about 100 times. And I also got involved in the fashion world, and I did fashion marketing for a lot of big companies. I did music production, beat battles with Kanye West. I worked at radio stations. I was part of a radio show. And I also just used all that to kind of learn how to even get backstage and meet people that were artists. I was a young kid, 17 years old, going backstage, trying to meet artists, had nothing to offer. I remember I met Russell Simmons one time. I told Russell Simmons, I said, hey man, I met him at a fat farm store. That's how old I am, a fat farm store. And I'm like, yo man, I'd love to come to your event you have later and learn from you. I used a word that was not your ass. I'd like to fornicate your mind for knowledge. This is before mentors were cool. He turned to security and said, make sure he gets in there. And I'm like, life of a broke MC. Turned my pockets inside out, and I met Russell Simmons, and we hung out like that, right? So I understood that there was a way to speak to people that would either influence them or persuade them that you can get your point across. Also, the hip hop music helped me to do that very much, because in hip hop music, a good lyricist was somebody who can convey a lot of information in a short period of time. They have 16 bars, as it were, like 16 sentences to make their whole point, right? Even the line by Jay-Z, I'm out for presidents to represent me. That means a lot. You know what I'm saying? He's saying a lot in a short period of time. So I learned through music, I learned how to convey a lot of information in a short period of time. My hopes, my dreams, my fears, what I want, what my goals are, what I'm against. And I learned to do that in social interactions. It gave me that. It also gave me the ability to express my personality very potently, because I just didn't have the time to do it, right? If you're meeting somebody new, or you're networking, or you're trying to get backstage at a concert that you shouldn't be at, like the Mobb Deep concert was one of them, or was it the MOP concert? I can't remember, one of the two. But yeah, that's what it did for me. And so went on this journey, eventually just went online, lots of internet forums. I'd be part of all of them. Sam and I were part of one internet forum. I became a trusted member on there. I wrote about 10,000, I guess, called little mini articles or something like that. And then I decided that every person that came to the city of Montreal, Canada, where I was from, I decided that I would go and volunteer at that live event. So I'd volunteer at the Chief Harv Eckerd Millionaire Mind, or at the just any of them. I think I even went. One of my ex-girlfriends was part of what's that one called? Starts with the L. Can't remember what it's called. If somebody knows, it'll come back to me in a little later on. And then of course I just volunteer. I'd be the guy that shows people around the city. I'd be the guy that picks people up at the airport, takes them to restaurants, and it just kind of snowballed from that to eventually going to Los Angeles and meeting Sam, who was there before me, and living with Sam, where we lived in what's called a now they would call it a creator house, right? Now,
that was before
creator house existed.
That was before the influencer house. Yeah,
influencer houses.
What do they call them now? Like the TikTok houses and stuff like that, Cloud House and so that. Yeah.
Didn't even exist back then, but we did that 7 years ago. We did that, and that was a great experience. All kinds of people would come into the house, from fitness trainers to energy workers. I think you had Glenn on here before.
Yeah, definitely.
To I would saw Oliver Stone one day, the director. I don't know if you remember. If you saw him. I saw him in the house once.
Really?
Just coming in. Yeah, I saw Oliver Stone, the director, there once. Just everybody would come out, just tons of information. You learn from everybody. Yeah. We'd all share, and we'd all just go through this this crazy boot camp, which was I call it a boot camp, but it was a life camp that we go through, just intense training of of how to perform under pressure, how to teach others, how to coach others, get results under pressure, how to run live events, and all that. And that's how everything kind of started.
Yeah, so it's super funny. I'll give the audience a bit of context. We just recorded for about 25 minutes and I didn't press the record button. And that's one of the things we learn. It's just like when you've experienced so many things, you know, and we both feel like, oh, well, emotional spike of like, oh, damn it, and then move on. That's one of the things we really learn, especially with all our travels, all of the things that we did. So I really want to get into it because that's something that a lot of people suffer with, you know, for that feeling of not, you know, for me, especially not recording or something going on with the thing might linger with people. I know lingers with people for, you know, that might be a month that might last them and they're just kicking themselves and constantly reaffirming. But for us, you know, 4 or 5 seconds, let it go on to the next. And that's something what we learn. So, you know, in your experience and your perspective, with us living together, with us being in sort of like it was kind of like a mentorship slash kind of building us up as people that could go out in the world, represent the company, you know, as instructors. What were the things from your perspective that you learned about, you know, just sort of life skills, as well as what are the things that you specifically kind of like remember as like the moments, like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
A big turning point.
Yeah, dude. I remember, I think it was just how much we had in the gas tank. Like I can remember you going up to like the top of what was that place? San Francisco, the top of the San Francisco bridge. It's like the middle of the night and you're holding a light. And you have no jacket and you're literally quivering. And there's like tears coming down our eyes because it's just like super cold and like our body's just reacting to it. And you know, just there's been so many situations like that where you're hiking a mountain and it's like 3 hours to get to location to shoot. And what I just learned is that there was always more in the gas tank. You don't realize how far you can go. You know, our friend Julian used to have this analogy, like gun to the head analogy. And it's like that for a business as well. If you had a gun to your head, what would you be able to produce or go and do? I think we have so much more in the gas tank than we really believe. Like anybody watching this, you might think, well, there's something in my life that I've done and I've pushed it really hard in my life. I've gone really far as much as I could. Well, I would challenge you to believe that you maybe had 10 to 15% more in the gas tank. Isn't that possible? Like if your life was on the line or the life of someone that you loved was on the line, how much more further could you go? How much more further could you do? And we just challenged that all of our lives while we're doing that. And the other thing I think I also really learned is if you do something preventative to help yourself, like cold showers or sauna or, you know, taking mushrooms, not mushrooms, but like, you know, reishi mushroom, things like that. If you do things like that, there's periods of contraction and periods of expansion. And if you take care of yourself in those moments, it also further increases your reservoir you have to be able to go out and push it further. A lot of being good at a skill is just living in a state where you're always taking care of yourself, or we are taking care of ourselves in some sort of way, you know, maybe like Monday or Sunday, and then Thursday to Friday, you can go out and do unbelievable things. And I think people really don't know how far they're going to be able to push it until they've had that experience of going deeper into the reserves of that gas tank. Because human beings were incredibly resourceful. The things that we can do are just like unbelievable. You know, we're able to like march so far across, like the people used to like conquer like the Mongolian areas, like on horseback and foot. And like now it's like, man, I want to walk half an hour. It's too far to go somewhere. Yeah. So we're capable of amazing things. And I think a lot of times, like, you know, just sell ourselves short. So I know that for you and I, most of that training was just like, how far can you go? How innovative can you be? How much can you solve a problem on the fly without like any preparation, without anything going on? Like, oh shit, I'm in a new city. I don't have a SIM card. There's 5 guys here to speak Russian. What do I do? What do I do? I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where to take them, how the transportation works. You know, my bank card is frozen. Like, what do you do? Yeah. And so you'd be put in panic situations where you learn how resourceful you can be to solve problems on the fly a lot. Remember a lot of that?
It's like accountability. I think once you're in a country and everything's against you, and I think it was the countries that don't speak English that gave me that idea that you're like, okay, the common thing that I never took for granted at all, like that I took for granted, sorry, which was just English.
is completely thrown out the thing. And now you have to operate under certain conditions. And it was like, I remember in Romania losing your passport, not having the key to the house, knowing that you've got a train to leave and there's not another train for like 2 days or some shit. You've got to get on that train, and all that thing. But I think I commend you a lot because, again, with that, I was 21. I was a young kid. I had fucking bundles of energy. But you being a little bit older and that momentum still being there, but still it was nothing compared to it. Because I want to really stress, and I want you to explain it, how no one really understood how taxing it was. It wasn't just like turn up and speak. Like, it was not that at all. It's like, if people are thinking like, it gave me a good perspective, like 40 hours in a week work compared to that. So like, I'll take the 40 hours a week. That shit is intense. You know what I mean?
It was really intense, man. Like nobody understands. Okay, they don't understand because they don't know. So it's not just show up and speak. It's like, all right, imagine you fly into a new city. All right. First of all, you go to the airport and you've never been to the airport. And you gotta maybe the guy at customs doesn't speak your language. So you gotta communicate to the guy in customs, how long you're gonna be there, whatever. You get your bag. You try to find where the taxi stand is. You go to the hotel. You check into the hotel. Maybe your room isn't ready. They don't have a room for you. You're early. So what you need to do is just park your luggage there. Now you got to go to the event place. You go to the event place. The room is not set up. The event manager is not there because it's after 6 p.m. So then you got to find some sort of audio visual guy to help you set up the room. Then you finally set it up and you realize you forgot a piece of gear that you thought you would have, or a memory card is not good, or a battery is not good. So you set that up. Then everybody finally comes and everybody's registered. And you realize, oh no, we sent out the emails to the wrong rooms. Everybody's on the wrong floor. You got to go in the hallway, write a sign, get up on stage because it's time now and the room's hot. There's no AC. Get up on stage, you answer the questions, you do great. You let them know about a great event you're throwing the next day, which is the very next day. You finish up, you pack up the gear, you haven't slept yet, and you realize it's 10 p.m. You haven't eaten dinner. You said, shit, it's 10 p.m. I should probably eat something because I was on a plane earlier today and I didn't eat anything. So let me go eat something. You're trying to go around town. A lot of the places, the kitchens are, sorry, sir, the kitchen's closed, 10 o'clock. We close the kitchen at 10. What do you got? We got salad. Now you're up at Denny's trying to eat a salad, or like IHOP trying to get like whatever they got left on the grill. And meanwhile, people are like, I have one more, they're seeing you in person. Like, I have one more question. Like, can I please eat the salad? Please just let me eat the salad. And, it's like years of this.
And that's just Thursday.
That's just Thursday. That's just Thursday. And it's like, this is like a repeated cycle for years and years and years. And then the thing is too, it's like, this is not even the extreme. It's like, that's the normal. That's the normal. And so you're constantly learning to adjust to being and living in a state of pressure. Meanwhile, fulfilling the expectations of the clients, because the clients have flown in usually from another city. Sometimes they live there, sometimes they fly in. So they fly in from another city and they're like, I took time off my vacation from work to be here. So if I can change my life. And you got to like figure out through trial and error, through the carrot and the stick, through different methods of motivation, what's going to get this person's brain to click so that they have an aha moment in 3 days. They need to either have a breakthrough or a breakdown in 3 days. And you're like, let me get to this aha moment. So they walk away feeling satisfied with the result. Meanwhile, you're dealing with your personal life, if you have one, your hunger, the events, schedule, bookings, customer service support. You're essentially like they call executive coach. And an executive coach he's an executive that is coaching at the same time. Yeah. So that's where that terminology comes from. And yeah, I just remember being like just really, really intense. I don't think in my age right now, I would be able to do it. I'm glad that I did do it. I think it molded me. I think I'd be a different person if I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we like had that experience and like it changed us tremendously.
Oh, 100%.
I'm glad that we got to go through it. And I feel bad for people, as I literally feel bad for people right now. They're like, I'm a life coach. And they're like, what did you do? It's like, I got a certificate off of a website. And it's like, you haven't coached anybody, you haven't done anything, haven't run a live event. And I feel bad for them because they didn't get to have that experience, which forever shapes you. It makes you into a diamond a diamond in that rough situation.
100%, 100%. It's so crazy, some of the experiences thinking back and just be like, wow, how did we do sleeping on the one that I always remember is the San Francisco one, sleeping on the floor, waking up for the 11 o'clock, getting to bed. I think it was like 6:30, tired as, then waking up on San Francisco in on the floor.
Yeah.
And then getting up and being ready by 10:30 in the morning for a thing by 11. Starbucks got the best of us. That's
Starbucks. What was that other thing? It was what was that thing we drink all the time? Like kombucha.
Yeah.
Kombucha to surviving on kombucha and whatever you can get. And I also that also, by the way, made me be very serious about my diet. That's when I went on like 2 years of like no alcohol. I wasn't alcoholic before or anything like that, but 2 years no alcohol, just eating chicken, kale salads and green juice and stuff like that, because we should have died.
Yeah. At that point,
if we did that stuff.
That's a great thing. Yeah, literally, if anyone did that and they didn't do those things, they would have died. They literally would have. And it was like, I think we were doing stuff before. Obviously, David Goggins came out with the 40% rule, where it's like you had another, and we were really pushing that to 80-90%. And without those things, as you said, that real clean diet, the reishi mushrooms, the saunas, the cold plunges, it wouldn't have been pretty, or you would have got sick.
What's the 40% rule? I don't know what that is.
When you feel like you're at the end, like you've got nothing left in the tank, that's it. You're only 40% of the way there.
Oh,
and
wow.
So that's the I think it's the Navy SEAL. I could be wrong. I'm sure someone will blast me on Instagram. It wasn't Navy SEALs. It was running. It was the idea. It might have been the Marines or the Navy SEALs or something. That's what their idea is, and Goggins presented it in his book. But yeah, it's fascinating. So what I really want to get to and ask you a few questions, especially on on certain topics we love, is everyone's experienced this thing that we've gone through in the last 2 years, 2 and a bit years, and it's
great disconnect.
The thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's funny, and I've always been one. We had this health minister here, and I don't want to get too political about it, you know what I mean? Because I know that no one 100%, every single person in the world is going to have one idea that they all believe in. It's not going to happen ever, right? That doesn't happen. You know what I mean? There's so many different things. But the one thing that this person was saying was you shouldn't go see family. You shouldn't go talk to people. And she used the word specifically, talk to people. You shouldn't go have a chat with your neighbor. You shouldn't go this. You shouldn't talk to people. And it really triggered me, right? Because it was like, hang on, like now you're saying something different than social, whatever, right? So the long-term, what I want to ask you is the long-term effects on social distancing, and connecting, disconnecting from people, and how to reverse the effects that has happened over the last 2 years from someone that might have done, super isolation mode almost.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a lot. Very, very passionately. Do I want to hold the mic as I talk about? Let's see. Hello. Yes. Do I want to hold the mic? Okay. It's fucking heavy. Forget it. All right, we're just gonna put it here. Yo, it's crazy. I was a quick story on how disconnected we are, right? We all know that people are working from home. We know that people are not going to school. We know that some places, clubs and restaurants are not really open. We know that people are resorting to online dating. So those are many different areas we can talk about. Let's talk about like the effects of it on people. So I was running a program. This is earlier this year, 2021, actually. I was in, where was that? It was in Amsterdam, I think, or Berlin, something like that. And I had a group of like 7-8 people I was working with face to face. And we're talking about that, we're all like joking around, and we're talking about that awkward moment, usually like when you're like at a bar and you buy a girl a drink and she kind of takes a drink, and like, you're dancing behind her. You don't really know how to dance. And, she's kind of grinding on you. Maybe you get a little excited because she's dancing on you and she's like good at moving. You don't have the rhythm. And then all of a sudden, like you kind of like, you say something stupid and she like walks off, and all the guys are just kind of like laughing about this moment, And there's this kid there, he's like 22, and he's like, what do you mean? Like, like when you're like dancing with a girl, and he's like, huh? And like when you are with a girl at a bar, you dance with her and you buy her a drink. He's like, oh, you buy them drinks? And I go, wait, what do you mean? You don't understand? He goes, no, I've never danced with a girl before. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, I've never been to a club. I'm 21, 22. I've never been to a club because when all this started, I was too young to go to the clubs. So he's never had that awkward moment where he goes, "Excuse me, madam, would you mind if I buy you a drink? Would you mind if I buy you a drink?" Every man goes through that phase where he buys a woman the drink and then she takes his drink and leaves, or the awkward dancing behind her at the club. He's never had that. He's never even danced with somebody. So I'm like, well, why not? He goes, well, my class is on Zoom. So there's also that moment where, like, remember you were in school and you had a crush on a girl in school, you know, like Susie in math class, and she sits next to you and, like, you know, you'd be like, Susie's gonna see me today, so I wear my nice shirt and I got a crush on Susie. Let me pass her a note. He doesn't have that because he's never been in school. So all these situations where human beings, specifically men and women, would have connected in real life, they would have crossed each other, they don't have anymore. They're just completely gone. Like, so we were looking at this kid like he was crazy, but kid just never had the opportunity. And then that further made me think, oh shit, that's also the same thing for women. So that means right now there's a generation of women that are between the ages of, geez, I mean, let's not be too crazy here, between the ages of 17 to 22, let's say within that age range, that have never went through that, like, weird, awkward high school dance moment, none of that. And let me tell you what's crazy about this, bro. This is what's fucked up. And to all your women watchers, I apologize. So what's crazy about this is it's producing a generation of sugar babies because of that. Because rather than having an interaction with the guy normally, like a friend circle, they're going, like, straight to the online. And when somebody goes straight to the online marketplace of dating is, you know, a lot of people making offers, guys making offers. Let me take you here. Let me buy you this. Let me do that. So you have a lot of women that are now turned 22, you know, like the age group now is 17 to 22, but it would have been like, if you now that they're older, it would be like 19 to 23 or something like that, you know, that would now be like, well, a relationship is an online transactional thing. Yeah. And that's totally normal because they didn't have the guy in school they liked and had a crush on. They didn't have the dancing in the club, and, you know, they didn't have that. So it's pretty crazy to think this, man. It's like forever changed how things will be for this group of people from now on. You know, they've missed like 3 years of their life of normal things that would be normal for us. They don't know how to interact with each other anymore. That art form of interacting is gone and rare.
It's a whole cultural change. Culture has like shifted. Yeah. That's crazy to think that, you know, these people are completely missing out on something that's huge, you know, in their life, which is, you know, I always talked about it, and I always looked at, you know, the development of kids through school and how their social skills are developed at four different areas. It's before class starts, recess, lunch, and after class, and that's about it. And when they hang out, those are the 4 areas that they socialize. But when they talk in class and stuff like that, they get told to shush, they get told. So there's other areas that are reinforcing not to socialize as well as socialize. And it's really funny. And now you're saying, you know, again, on Zoom, you can't socialize with people on Zoom, you know? So you're really going to, as you said, you're really going to have this thing. Now, what can these kids do?
Or even like, how do you meet people that are not on your contact list?
Yeah, exactly.
Because for them to be on your contact list, you have to know them already.
100%. Definitely.
They're not on your contact list.
Which is reinforcing that idea, though. You know, a lot of people, it's like you're only going to date within your social circle, and that's about it. And then you're going to have the things that happen with that, like the like kind of like the false, you put false kind of things on people, false ideas, projections, because the scarcity mindset allows you to fall in love with the person out of a candidate of 3 people. You're like, they're the one, you know what I mean? And it's just like, you got 3 people to choose from, you know.
3 people in your contact list that you had from when you were 16 and you haven't been able to grow it since then. You know, it's also crazy is I read a study that 25% of men over the age of 30 are now virgins.
I've seen the increase in that. That's crazy. It's crazy.
It's crazy because, like, where are they going to meet people? Like, how are they going to meet people? And as you know, Jordan Peterson says, I think some other sociologists have said this as well. When men have the urge to be with the women, and that urge is not met, it's not like the men lose that urge. It's a DNA, it's a desire within their biology. It's like men went and like conquered other villages just to like have the treasures and the women. It's not like that strong biological urge goes away in men at young age. It stays there, but it comes out and through other behaviors, which can sometimes be not the most pleasant behaviors. It comes out in being aggressive, anti-women, anti-this, anti-that. And so, you know, like as a society, we have to change that, but also it's up to us as individuals to have a personal responsibility to say, hey, all right, I'm starting to feel this way. How can I then work on this skill? Maybe by watching this podcast or something, or how can I work on the skill to then go out and be better? And what can I do about it? Because it's got to be, everybody that feels that way has to do something about it, because there is no alternative options that are out there. You got to like kind of make yourself get out there virtually or face to face or whatever.
And these discussions need to be had so that the information's out there, so that they can relate with someone. Just be like, oh, okay, there's other people that not just are dealing with it, but that know about the issue. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of people here that are just like, you know, I'm just struggling with finding people. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, you know, I can totally relate when, you know, you got a curfew, you can't be out by 6 p.m. You might not have a dog to, you know, go for a walk, you know, telling you not to walk and this and that. It's just like, yo, I can totally understand. On a different topic or on the same sort of topic, what are the reversal things that people can do right this second that, you know, maybe they've felt last 2 years, oh, I've been super antisocial. What are the things that you would tell them? All right, in the next month, do these things.
Travel if you can. Travel if you can. I would just say that because like it puts a mental, it reminds you mentally of the condition that you're in. You're right. You know that expression like if you want to kill a frog or cook a lobster, cook a frog, you slowly lower it into the boiling water, or you turn it to temperature slowly and it doesn't realize it, and then it's like, oh, it's dead or it's cooked. Dead is cooked. But you know, it's like that socially. It's like you slowly start to forget it's normal to do that. And even for myself, I had to do that. So I started like teaching programs again, live infield coaching programs where people learn to be social. And for the first few months of it, I had been in a lockdown for 1.5 years. For the first few months of it, I was weird. I'm like, oh shit, I need to go and like shake somebody's hand. I remember the first time a woman shook my hand. It was by a bus stop. And I was just like, I was confused. I was excited. And I was like, how dare she just think she could shake my hand? And I was like, oh my gosh, her hand is so soft. I was like, at the same time, all these emotions were going through me. And I was like, wow, just having social contact with somebody was crazy. And so the first thing people need to do is just put themselves in as many situations as they feel are awkward. And realize that it's going to take time to relearn everything that you thought was normal. You're going to feel awkward being normal, and allow yourself to go through like that period of like confusion. Like, am I doing it right? Should I not go out? Should I go out? Another thing I've been doing is like, I've been going and working at co-working spaces, like where people have lots of laptops. So like these, you know, you pay them $5 and everybody just kind of co-works. I've been going there too, to be like, oh, this is what an office used to be like. I remember going to an office. Oh, there's a coffee machine. Jennifer, could you get some more beans for the coffee machine? Oh, wow. I remember what this is like. Like I would just putting myself in situations that I forgot that are what people do. Even though I don't feel like it, there's no desire in my body to go and do those things. It's like, but just do them anyway. So to anybody watching this, I encourage you tremendously. Just get out there and just do something, man. Because like, you're not going to have the desire to do it, or the urge, or the comfortableness doing it, but it's putting yourself in awkward and uncomfortable situations that are going to force us like all to like just grow if you can, and go to a non-political country like Mexico, or like
some of it's a bit more free,
or anywhere you can go. Just go somewhere. I remember I had to like convince my mom to just get on like a train at one point. She's like, I don't know what the train. Like all of like my aunts and uncles were like, I don't know what the train on the train. I was like, listen, you got all the medicine in you that the government could put in you. Just get on the train. You got you got it already. You've done all you could. Just get on the train.
Yeah,
get on the train.
Live your life again. No, I think I remember I read a study, and it was just like somewhere between there was a big broad thing, but it was between 15 minutes and an hour per day someone talks. That's it in total, you know. With their 12 to 15 hours they're awake. That's all. Some people it's less than 15 minutes. Like that's the craziness of it. You know what I mean?
Definitely felt that, bro. Yeah.
Like that's some insane levels of like low numbers of talking. You know, somewhere they gave a rough estimate of like 1,000 to 7,000 words. That's it, right? And then they kind of like related it to people that do talk for a living, you know, and it was you know high numbers. And you can imagine if you want to get better at talking, talk. Learn, and that's what we've done, you know, thinking back at your things, especially with the way you're able to connect, the way you're able to influence, the way you're able to speak. Funny thing, doing some research last night, you'll love this, and someone was talking about how to edit your podcast like an advanced guy. Let me put a voice on how to edit your podcast like an advanced guy. Step number one. And he was cutting, and I was listening to him, and he was making blunders and double takes and this and that, right? And I was listening, I'm like, oh, and I had a look compared to my one, and there wasn't too many. Sure, there is some, don't get me wrong, I just leave it in there. But there wasn't any stuff up with the words or anything like that. I really recall it back to what we learned. I really recalled it being able to speak and improvise on the spot, being able to not know exactly what you're going to say in any situation. Recall that shit on the top of your mind. And it's almost, it's a whole different idea than just freestyling, you know, in rapping or anything like that. It's more of this thing that I really, really want to get into, this free association that you and I can both do exceptionally well. Just riff off the top of the head, because people are always saying, well, what do I say? You know, I don't know how to start and stuff like that. And we've done that through before, obviously talking to a lot of people. But what's your kind of gist? What do you do? What's your process? Because I know my process and your process will be, you know, totally different, especially with your high functioning brain. What are the things that allow you to be able to speak? You know, say if you're speaking with that celebrity, that high status person, the girl, influencing people, speaking on stage, what's your process?
I got a few things. Okay, so everybody's different, right? Like let's say you were able to go out to a park or a public venue of any kind. You know, so there's some people that need to like kind of enjoy the environment first. They need to like go and like do a cartwheel, play with the frisbee, they like run with the dog, and then they're warmed up and they're ready to be social. But me being a certain kind of introvert actually makes me tired to do that. Like going out and like talking to many people makes me tired. So I had more of a sniper approach where I prefer to like talk to 5 or 6 people maximum like in a night, or 5 or 6 like kind of groups of people, because it would just make me very tired. So I'd say the first thing is you got to kind of learn yourself. Don't take the excuse of being introverted as to not talk to people initially. Try both approaches and kind of like see what works for you. And then the other thing is I always have my go-to strategy for making a conversation is not to ask a lot of questions, because people are always like, hey, what's your name? How old are you? Where are you from? Oh, do you like it here? That's cool. And it's like when you ask somebody a question that doesn't know you, it's like you're taking information from them. You're requesting them to give you information, and they don't know you. So why should they? You know, if you ask 6 or 7 questions in a row, it's almost as intrusive as saying, what's your home address? Like, it feels the same thing emotionally. So one of the things I always talk about is take a question and turn it into a statement. So instead of how old, instead of like, what country are you from? Like, I get the feeling that you're from Barbados. Or like, what do you do for fun? Something about you tells me that you're adventurous, right? It's like just taking the phrases, I bet you, I get the feeling you look like something about you. Any of those kind of like beginning of phrases, I bet ... you look like ... I get the feeling ... Those are ways to kind of like start expressing yourself or getting to know people through statements. The other thing I'd recommend for somebody to do initially, just off the top, is to make statements. I call it a statement of kingdom, which is just you saying what type of person you are about a subject. So it's the positive and a negative about it. So I'm the type of person that enjoys purple markers when it comes to writing on whiteboards. I'm not the type of person that enjoys sniffing them all day just to get high, right? You give a statement that you are for something and a statement that you're not for something. I'm the type of person that enjoys Zoom talking to old friends I haven't seen in forever. I'm not the type of person to just be on Zoom all day and never get out and experience the real world, right? So a statement of kingdom is a way for you to express yourself. It's a tool. And then the last thing I kind of do, I would say for anybody starting to just learn to express themselves, is use something called the web. So the web is like where you look at your hand. Here's the other side there. There you go. You look at your hand, and you don't have to do it. You're like, I have hands? What is this? Look, you take your hand and you pick a main subject and you try to branch it into 5 different areas of that subject. So if I was going to talk about the marker, I can talk about the cap of the marker. That's 1. I can talk about the color of the marker. That's 2. I can talk about where I bought the marker. That's 3. I can talk about the use of the marker. That's 4. I can talk about, I don't know, how much it costs. Like, I don't know if I said that. That's 5, right? So you can take a subject, you can break it into 5 different subcategories.
That's smart.
And those are kind of the 3 tools that I would give to somebody, like, yo, just that's it. You got something. Do those, man. Just do those, because you haven't socialized in forever, and you're only speaking for 15 minutes a day, according to that report that Sam read. 15 minutes to 1 hour a day you're only speaking. So forget how to expand on subjects. You forget how to have an opinion. That's what a statement of kingdom is. It gives you an opinion you can express. You forget how to have an opinion. You forget, like, asking too many questions is annoying unless you also share information about yourself.
Yeah.
So, the question trap is like a huge one. We just like ask questions when we're nervous. It's our default thing we rely on, because we're like, yo, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Let me just ask some questions, and maybe the person will like me, and it stalls.
Exactly. And then those questions, the default questions, are not even like interesting. They're just like the basic of basic, most logical thing ever. There's so many ways that you can actually make it interesting with a question, but it's just logic, just no room for interpretation. Yes, no responses. That's it. You know what I mean?
Nothing, man. Yeah, basic questions like, what do you do? It's always the same. Where are you from? How old are you? Oh,
Yeah.
Where do you from? Do you have any brothers and sisters?
Well, Madison, do you like your glasses?
Like your glasses?
Yes.
No, also the thing with what do you do for work? Like, imagine that could probably be a touchy subject right now, because I could imagine, like, is it like 10% of the population, like 15% of the population lost their job, depending on where you are. Like a lot of people lost their job. Like, you walk up to 10 people and say, what do you do for work? Like, they're probably going to be offended or at least embarrassed by that question.
That's taken a whole different meaning now. 100%.
Yes. Yeah. What do you do for work? Well, I did.
Next question.
Next
and now you're already almost like, the conversation's as much investment as there was. Usually it's an introduction question. It's gone down.
It's gone down.
So you got nothing, and that's the thing. So Madison, one of the things that I find about you especially is that through all of our LA dealings and all of that thing, you were very much like me. It was just like you were able to connect with high status individuals. I'm talking the rapper. I'm talking the celebrity. I'm talking the people that other people want. And one of the interesting things that runs through my brain that not a lot of people know is that I'm thinking about these people through one of a previous analogy, which is these high status people have a lack of good quality people and an overabundance of people wanting things from them. So you're thinking these guys have got all the friends, they're lacking good people in their life. That is what they lack. You know what I mean? Because I'm talking to them now, and as I'm becoming friends with them, they're really cherishing my friendship with them, and that's simply because I'm looking and I'm like, yo, where are your friends at? Like some people have really, really good quality ones, and some don't. I'm just like I love being their friend, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, yo, where's the friendship? You know what I mean? Where's the other sort of guy? And that's what I'm seeing, an overabundance. So give us your take on that. How did you come up with because you're cool, calm, collected, and you're not someone that's a leech around them, not something that wants to take value from them. So what's your kind of take on that?
Okay, cool. So I believe that I believe that influence comes down to 4 things: empathy, leading, dominance, and I forgot the 4th one right now, as I mentioned it on the top of my head, where there's 4 things that are required to influence somebody, right? And as you mentioned, with a high value person or a celebrity or a status person, it's really hard for them to get honest feedback. Oh, relatability. Sorry, that was the last one. Relatability.
I'll cut that in.
Yeah, just put that in there. So, I've been fortunate enough to have been approached by Ariana Grande. Let's just call it that. I've dated people that were Olympic athletes that have won medals. I'm working with people that own, some of my students are guys that have Fortune 500 companies that are listed on the NASDAQ. I have, hung out many times with back in the day, it was like Wyclef Jean and Ben Affleck and stuff like that, So I realize that what you're saying, these people have a lack of high quality people around them.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's because of the yes men syndrome. And I feel like I have this whiteboard and I haven't used it. So I feel like I should probably
Let's
bust out
crack
the
that
whiteboard
bad boy out.
Crack it. That's what she said. All right. So let's put the mic over here. Okay. So imagine this is like the high value person, like a celebrity. Okay, we'll put like a H in there. Okay, the celebrity.
Yo, make it a little bit darker. We can't really see it. There we go. You got to tilt it.
Okay, I'll tilt it so they get reflection.
Make it thick and black and bold.
That's again what she said. So as they like, as they get more high value, right? They're like going up. We'll put little arrows. Okay, little up. They're going up in status, and as they go up in status, guess what happens to everybody around them? First, they get like their crew. They bring everybody that's high value brings their crew with them. This is like why every rapper fails. Every rapper's like, yeah, I'm bringing my cousin. He's my new manager, and Uncle Ruru is going to be my marketing guy. And they bring their people with them, right? But because the people that they bring with them are from the bottom, they don't want to lose their career because now the person's on the come up is their career. So they start to get a lot of circle of yes men around them. Okay, let's say like YES. So like every rapper, even Fetty Wap, I think he talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
See that interview? Was it on No Jumper or something like that? Fetty Wap is like, I spent all my money in 2 years. I went bankrupt.
Academics, I think. Yeah, one of the two. Yeah, I saw that.
And the same thing for T-Pain, and the same thing for like, they lose everything because they're trying to bring their whole crew with them. But once you bring your boy up with you or your crew with you up to the top, they're saying yes to everything, including bad decisions because you're the money train. It's like that line, if Drizzy got the money, then Drizzy gonna pay it. Then my brothers, I ain't even gotta say it. It's just something they know, but it's like, it's bad. It's not good, right? It's bad. Now to add to that, what do you think? Your dating situation changes.
Yeah, 100%.
Now
1,000%.
you don't want this 1,000%. You don't got the same women around you no more. You got, or if you're a woman, you got the same guys. Now they all want the trips. They want the trips, right? So your dating changes. DATING. Dating situation changes because now it's like, well, they're maybe dating you for your money or they're dating you for a networking situation. I dated the daughter of the probably biggest spiritual guru in the world. Okay, just there's the two that you're thinking of. Yes, it's that one, right? And when we were in a relationship, we were saying, no, it was we were dating. She was saying, part of her challenge is everybody just wants to get closer to her father. And she said sometimes people will pretend to be her friend for months and months and months, and they go, anyway, so now just wondering, can I meet your dad? Like after 2 months of being her friend.
Yo, right? That's so funny. The Lex Friedman and Joe Rogan podcast. He talks about that her Joe Rogan's daughter is like 13 and the boys are like obsessed with him. And that's the only thing that is like, sometimes I think you're just want to date my dad. That's what
my dad. That's funny. I don't even know who Les Friedman is, but the joke makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine I've chilled out with Michaela Peterson in like did a podcast with her. And like I can imagine everybody's like, I just want to get closer to Jordan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like I just want to get closer to Jordan Peterson. So like people probably think that as well. And then on top of that,
go on. Yeah. We'll call it back.
Go on. You got a thought. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm talking about like that. This is what these like, these high status guys have. They got people that like them specifically just for what they did or their fame or their status and this and that. And that's not the way to do it. You know what I mean? As you're gonna explain right now.
I'm going to explain. Yeah. Well, you said it. Yeah. The people like them for that stuff. I even get to that, but it's like people around them like them for the thing, but not who they are. They like them for what they contribute. You like the person for what they give you. You like the celebrity, the high value person for what they give you, but you don't like them for when they're sick. Then also I put another layer here called family. The relationship with their family changes because to get high value successful, you got to get out there. You got to travel. Yeah. Sam, I mean, you know this, right? You went on a world tour, probably didn't see a few aunts and uncles for a long time. You probably missed a few birthdays. Yeah. Right? People get mad at you. Oh, you changed. It's like, oh, I'm trying to like set up a legacy here and do something with my life the same way you did. So your family changes around you and all this changes. So now it's like, now the person that's high status or the person that's a celebrity is trapped in the middle of that. And it feels like everywhere they go, they're going to be disappointed. Now I'm going to add another level on this. Check this out.
Okay.
Another level that fucks them up. and you can't see here, I'm going to write it.
Guys on the audio, it's the 4 levels. You've got the high status person, the yes men, the dating, the family, and then the last one is
Yes, mentors, people that they've mentored before that then stole their ideas, came back, bit them in the ass, or put up a bad vlog about them, or put up a bad video, or wrote a book about them.
yeah.
So they're burned from people they tried to let in before that were like you know what I'm saying? Or there were strangers, like, you know, imagine the business guy like, well, I'll mentor this young kid, and then you know, you're the young kid. They, you know, or somebody was a young kid. They came in, they mentored them, then they stole their business ideas, and then they maybe like made a competing company. And so the person that's highest value is like, I'm not gonna mentor anybody ever again, and they've been burned, they're bitter.
Yeah.
So that's the situation they're going into, and they want the person that's the high value person or celebrity would love to say yes to all the great people that are out there, but they're so scared to say yes, and they don't have the time to say yes because they're managing so many layers of relationships. So what I'm always saying is to influence somebody, you have to be empathetic of their situation. Be empathetic of, like, yes, they have yes men around them. It's hard for them to date. You know, what does that look like for them? Their family, maybe you can help be part of their soul family, right? Like don't ask them to mentor you right away, because that's like just asking more of them, you know. Empathy, relatability, and then of course leading them to things that might even help them. How could you add value to their lives? How could you help them out for something that they need, whether it be health, finance, wealth? You know, if somebody is very successful, but you show them a supplement that helps them out, they're gonna be super happy. You know, this guy named Shane who makes stuff. He makes a mushroom chug of mushrooms, and he gives it to all the instructors, and we're like, yes, you helped us out with our health, and we're happy about it.
Yeah.
You know, so if you can help any of these people that are celebrities or high status people in these areas, they will forever be helpful, grateful to you for that. I'm slurring my words a little bit now. I'm drunk.
Drunk on knowledge. That's amazing.
Yeah,
and that's not even the fans. You didn't even, you know, the last bit is the fans that want photos and the idea. And you love this because this is exactly, they have this image of you that you have to now uphold yourself to. And if you don't, they're disappointed and they write things about you. He wasn't the same person. Yeah. It's like, well, yo, you know,
can I get a moment?
Yeah. Like, and you have to live up to their idea of you.
I heard a story about that. It was, I think it was the show. Oh, it was Aziz Ansari.
Yeah.
The show Master of None. I think the name of the show on Netflix. So one of the episodes, he's out there, he's at a restaurant with a friend or something. And this guy's like, oh man, Aziz, I love you. He's like, can I have a picture? He's like, well, I'm actually kind of just having dinner with a friend right now. And the guy goes, oh, okay, cool. Just takes the selfie, like rapes him for the selfie, like click, and just like walks off. And he's like, the whole episode is about how he just like, the guy just like took the selfie without him saying yes while he was having dinner with a friend. And he felt violated by that.
Yeah. And then that's just, you know, not including the paparazzi and what they do and stuff like that. When you actually see it in person, people don't understand that that's some crazy stuff when you see it in person, and the questions they ask, they try to get trigger responses, you know? So anything you're going through, they're targeting, and they're trying to get some response for you. Any sort of picture they can get where you look angry, boom, double the money.
Right.
You know,
this is why I was saying to you before, man, at the beginning of our chat, like when I was getting into like the scene of seminars, right?
Yeah.
Or artists that would come to town, like Cardinal Fischel, or some of the guys just be on Rough Riders, like those rappers or Common or whatever. I would just make these guys be like, yo, you want to go eat? I'm like, you hungry? I know a spot. And I wouldn't ask them for anything. It's like, yo, I'm taking you here. I'm hooking you up. And it was like, they just wanted a moment to be able to just chill, not have to be perfect, you know, like just be themselves, just like not be perfect. Nobody's around noticing them, let their guard down. I'm not going to be like, so on album number 4, on song number 2, like none of that. I just provided the space for them to be imperfect.
Yeah.
And this also goes for dating as well. You can use this information for dating. When you have that perfect girl or perfect guy, that high status person, like they just want an opportunity to not be perfect. They just want an opportunity to be themselves. I remember when Ariana Grande approached me. This is like back in 2000 and 2019 it was, okay. I was just at a hotel just chilling, and me and Jesse actually were chilling, just talking about like stroopwafels, and I hear his voice go, "Stroopwafels? Oh, I love stroopwafels," and just like she's like just to talk, chat us up. This is like in the back like alley, always like of a hotel, like not alley, but like where the conference rooms are. And she was just lonely, just wanted to just like have a chat, talk about some stupid dumb shit. She didn't want like I didn't even know it was her at first. I thought it was like the ghetto version of her, because like she didn't have any makeup on and her hair wasn't done, and like she had like hand tattoos and shit. I was like, who's this girl trying to be? Looking like she's Jenny from the block. Anyways, we were just shooting a shit about some dumb shit. We were just on some dumb shit, really. You know what I mean? Which, like, when is the last time she had a moment to be on some dumb shit? I remember the next morning too, when the hotel knew that she was there, and like there was people at the front desk and the manager was there waiting, and they had like 4 black Escalades pull up, and all of her staff were there, and they're like, you know, it's like she couldn't be that person anymore.
Yeah, she had to be
no longer had the space to be herself.
I find the biggest thing is that they start to develop facades, right? So we had a DJ guy at our old gym, and so people can get real context with it, because it's crazy, right? That these people are starving for real connection, starving for it, because they don't get it. He rocks up in the gym and he's just doing his thing. And so the manager goes, "Oh, I know how to get in the good books with him," and starts playing his music. And the look on his face was of like total despair. Like and he looks at me, he goes, "Bro, I come here to get away from this." And the manager thinks he's like, you know, "I'm going to do it." The manager didn't know anything wrong, nothing wrong with him. But he's like, "Man, I get away from like that image of I'm going to be like this thing. You know what I mean? I'm just like a normal dude. You know what I mean?" Or the girl's like, "I'm just a normal dude, a normal girl." And even if you said, what are you trying to be, Jennifer on the block or something? That would have like even hit perfectly when you're talking to her. You know what I mean? That would have been real. That's something realness. That's that congruency that we talk about. Like you had that thought, oh, let it out, you know what I mean? And then, you know, you can calibrate, obviously, you know, you learn to actually know where the line is, obviously. But I always talk about when you're dealing with people, and you'd attest to that. Tell me how you think of this. It's like sometimes you need to risk offending someone to know where the boundaries are, to know where the middle is. And so when you don't do that, you don't know where the conversation lies. You know,
right?
So people think, oh, it must lie in this logical fucking thing, but experiment and see where it is. Obviously, learn how to calibrate and say, like, you know, apologize and say if you've taken it too far. But now you know the limits. Now you can work really well in this conversation. Right, you know, even better.
That's why people that are like high value, whether it be males, females, celebrities, DJs, just somebody who's just famous or not, somebody who's just attractive. They don't have people, they very rarely have people say things that may be offensive to them. And so they end up like kind of bored. But like if you can, it's amazing that you can get closer to somebody once you've offended them, because then you have something to talk about, discuss, and have a dialogue about, and you can like bond over your ideas of differences and stuff. And that's a beautiful thing. But you know, they don't have that in their life at all. Like I showed you said,
here, yes, like, man. Yeah, they don't have that.
Exactly. The yes mans. The people who are dating just want the money from them. Like, you know, the people who want to be mentored from them just want to be like, just say great things. Like, "I love your book. You're great. You're beautiful. I love your album." And they're like, okay, all right. And they don't get any negative feedback, or they don't get any constructive criticism feedback. And sometimes just somebody just tells them what's up is amazing. And that's why also too, there's this trend of really, really successful CEOs at huge companies always have like a dominatrix on the side that they go and see, because the dominatrix tells them that they're shit. The dominatrix tells them that like they're garbage, and like, "Oh, thank you, somebody telling me the truth."
Yeah, but that's bringing back. That's bringing back CSI with Grissom. Grissom had this like he was like the head guy. Grissom had this dominatrix girl. That's true. They must have taken it from somewhere, which is, you know, the truth. You know, a lot of those shows do. That's why I see that. I'm like, a lot of this is true. We just don't know where it's happening. You know. Because I'm like, it's got to be somewhere, because they got to get the idea from somewhere, you know?
Yes.
There's too many details in it for it to be like a thought, you know?
Yes. Yes. It's exactly on point. Something about it rings true. It's too close to be like, just like a fantasy story made up.
Yeah.
Man. I feel that's the part I call the empathy, you know, like having empathy for people that you want to meet and then relating to the situation that they may be going through at this exact same moment. Just relating to that. That'll get you further with somebody who feels pressure. Like I remember back in the day, I'd roll upon like a model at like a table, You know, she'd be behind a velvet rope. She'd be at a table at some big nightclub. I just lean over and, you know, she's on the couch, sitting on the couch, doing her, you know, paid to be there model thing. And I lean over to her and I say, I can tell by the look in your eye, you don't want to be here at all, do you? She's like, I don't, please kill me now. You know, like, we relate on that moment and we have a laugh about it. And it's like, don't worry, as soon as this is over, you know, you're going to get your money and we're going to escape and we're going to eat pizza. She's like, oh my gosh, please. I love pizza right now. You know, it's like, we have like a little inside joke because I'm able to relate to where they are at this moment. Yeah. You know, and, or just to understand their situation. So you could, if you understand people and can relate to them, then you can influence them. And when I say influence, I don't mean manipulate. I mean, lead them to a win-win, which is what they want and what you want, and showing them how it's the same thing.
If I had a sound effect like the Fresh and Fit guys do, that's a bomb drop. That's a mic drop right there. Yeah, that is crazy. And you know, with your influence and your persuasion, especially with this new product coming out, it's so key. You know, you know, in the next couple of years, people will start to reconnect again. You know what I mean? Or do you think that, you know, where do you think socializing is going to come? Where do you think it's going to go?
You already asked me the question because, you know, we will meet in the metaverse. We'll go to a virtual club. There will be a virtual version of Diplo. We'll meet in a virtual club. You will take your Ethereum tokens and you will buy a virtual drink, which the person, the avatar, will consume. It may be a man or woman you don't know, because it's a virtual avatar, like Ready Player One. And then after that, you will go on. I heard there's now a virtual yacht. The 8 people bought, it's a $12 million virtual yacht in the metaverse. I heard it exists now, or in the sandbox. Somebody was telling me about today. You'll go on you're like, hey baby, you know, I got a virtual yacht. Would you like to see it? She'll be like, sure, because I don't go anywhere anyways. I speak 15 minutes a day, so sure, I'll go. And then you'll flex on the virtual yacht. You'll say, put on your pleasure sensors, and like, oh, I can. Do you consent to this? Please, please put on your pleasure sensor unit. You'll put it on your body. You'll strap it on. And they'll say, please check mark if you agree to continue, and press submit. You're like, I consent, submit. And then you go on, and you know, that's how dating will be in the metaverse, because actually the world population is now in decline. It takes 2 people to make 1 baby. Think about this. It's a man and a woman to make 1 baby. So unless everybody has, this is the math, every couple has 2.3 kids, or it's a 2.1 kids, the world is in decline. And because women are waiting longer to have children, and they're invested in careers, and men don't know how to approach women anymore, talk to them, people are not having children. So for every 2 people, 2 die. You got to replace them with 2.1 or 2.3 people. And this is what's happening. So it's all about the metaverse, baby. You know what I'm saying?
It's all about the metaverse.
Maybe you'll have a metaverse child. A metaverse child where it's like a Tamagotchi. He's like, did you remember to feed our metaverse baby? Yeah, I'm sorry, I'll go do it later. And then you go there, your metaverse baby is in a coma.
Call it Tommy. That's what it would be. If
Tamagotchi?
Anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, me and Madison have this inside joke about, you know, I came to the idea, we were in a group chat and we had this idea about the metaverse, a nightclub. And it was a complete joke at the start. And then
a month ago it was a joke.
Yeah, now it's like we're in the group chat, we've continued to send each other funny things about the metaverse, and it's become an inside joke. And now the shit we're sending each other is pretty close to what, like, you know, I'm sending them like a location via, you know, Decentraland or Sandbox or something like that, like a room, and they're like, yeah, that'd be good. Then we're seeing real estate investors, then we're seeing nightclubs and DJs, and then we're seeing, okay, well, you've got to have this this proof card to get in the access of the group. And I'm like, yo, this is like a club entry. This is like getting into excess, you know? You got the line, you've got to wait. Like, I'm like, man, this is crazy. And so it's kind of like a joke for us, but the joke is now turning into more reality. Each and every day.
Yeah, I feel like it's coming true, man. Like sadly and surely, like I see it happening. I see people getting more disconnected than ever. I see the rift of society between people that want their freedom and people that just like enforcing the laws and government. It's like I'm really concerned about the future. Not to be too deep, I'm concerned about the future of humankind in the next 2 to 3 years. And I think everything that's happening right now is just a short-term test, but stuff will happen again where we're all divided again. And that's the perfect time for the metaverse. If not the metaverse, there'll be some other version of it. Or, you know, before we thought it was going to be the Oculus Rift. Oculus Rift is it called? They thought it was going to be the metaverse. If it's not that, it'll be some other version of it. The point is, Tinder and Bumble and all these companies that are owned by the Match Group, they have more users than ever before, and it keeps going up and up and up. And I think interacting with human being or meeting people face to face will be a foreign lost skill set. And we got to do our best to kind of keep it alive, because I mean, I talked to somebody the other day. This girl, she said to me, "I wish I could just meet some guy in the grocery store." I'm like, "How?"
Yeah.
They limit capacity. You got to wear a mask. Like, what do you like? He's 6 feet behind you. Like, what do you think? Like, how is he gonna, like, he's gonna reach for the melons. You reach for the melons at the same time, then you freak out because he touched your hand. Like, how is this gonna work at the grocery store? Like, how are you just gonna like bump into this dude? Like, so Metaverse, man. It's all Metaverse.
It's happening in the Metaverse. Come to our nightclubs. This was really just a pitch for our nightclub in the Metaverse,
right? Or if you want to meet somebody, you can go to the grocery store to casually meet somebody in the Metaverse. It's the Metaverse grocery store.
And then, of course.
And then he's like, oh, I see you're buying some wasabi. Oh, I like wasabi too. I'm quite the cook. Oh, you're talking in the Metaverse in the grocery store instead of real life, because you
then the thing comes up. It says you've got to pay your subscription. Your quality is now put at 2280p. You get pixels now. I love that. Well, Madison, thank you very much for coming on. Now, where can the people find you? Where can the people kind of connect with you?
My address is, I live at the Meneses in Playa del Carmen. People can find me on Instagram, which is Madison himself on Instagram, or my YouTube, which is Madison Influence and Persuasion. And that's where I am. I got a lot of programs from all around the world, doing my final year of coaching boot camps, which is an in-person program. We take you out face to face, and we real time make adjustments on your social skills before the Metaverse comes. And also do consulting and coaching online. So you can find all that on my pages that I've mentioned. Madison himself on Instagram, and Madison Influence and Persuasion on YouTube.
All the links will be in the description, everyone. Madison, thank you very much for coming on. Last question. If you could change one thing about the world, what would that thing be?
Oh, dude, that's a big question. That's a big question. If I could change one thing about the world, what would it be? I would think a better democratic process where the people that are actually lower on in the countries can vote on the future of how they like to see things go. Not just electing an official to represent them, but also be more involved in the process of running their societies, their lives, their freedom, and their right to speak, or free speech.
Mic drop.
What it would be, bro.
Boom. Thank you very much, Madison. I appreciate your time and event. And again, click the links below to reach out to Madison and all see what he's doing. Appreciate each and every one of you for that. Thank you very much. If you want to leave a 5-star review, 4-star review, 3-star, maybe you don't even like that my accent is Aussie and American at the same time. Maybe you don't like, the people that I have. Rate it as much as you want. Every rating helps the show. I appreciate you, Madison. And Madison will be a recurring guest, so you guys will hear a lot about him. So peace out, guys. Woo!